Okay, now we've traveled again a little more south, and we're at the Fritzloff plot. Before Dad starts talking about the Fritzloffs and why his father is buried here, we're going to back just in the last segment. We thought we had the Kaufmans and the Bollmans. Uh, Friedrich was buried in the Kaufman plot because at that time Grandpa Hoppert didn't have a plot for him, so that's why he went with the Bollmans and the Kaufmans. Now again, relationship of Bowman to Kaufman, Karen?
We think Sophie's mother was a Bowman and she was Sophie Kaufman, which was her father's side of the family.
Okay. So now we're at Fritzloff. Dad, you can take it from here.
Okay, well, Aunt Jenny was Grandma Sophie's sister, and her husband was Reinhard.
Jenny Fritzloff.
What?
When you say Aunt Jenny, is that Jenny Fritzloff?
Yes.
Okay.
Aunt Jenny, her husband was Reinhard Fritzloff, but he was called Barney, and he was quite a hunter and outdoorsman, and they had a summer home over in Wisconsin. And they never had any children. So, but they are buried here. But they had this big lot, and the back part of this lot is occupied by my mother and my father and my stepmother.
Well, I'll walk around back there. So this is our Grandpa Martin, where he's buried. And again, he is on the Versloff plot because?
Well, because over here is Hannah Hoppert, and she was my stepmother. They were married when I was 9 years old. And she was like a mother, and she's the mother of Harriet and Catherine and John, my brothers and sisters. But she's my stepmother. She was like a real mother. They were married in 1924, and she died, well, in 1939. I don't remember just how old she was, but anyway. She had some kind of difficult stomach problems.
Mm-hmm. Are any of these other spaces
No.
spoken for?
No. Aunt Jenny just happened to have these spaces available, and so my dad asked whether he could use them.
I see. Anybody else of importance here?
No.
Okay, well, we'll move on. Now we again have moved a bit south in the cemetery, and we're at the Longy plot. If you were wondering back on that last stop where Dad's mother was buried, that's why. Well, the stepmother was at the last plot,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah, and so it crossed my mind where Hattie, or Dad's mother, was buried, and that's why we've come over to the Longy plot, and he's standing by the headstone of Laura Longy. You can't see the Laura part of it very well, but now this is a woman who was Dad's grandma. So we'll let him go.
All right, this first grave here is my real mother. She was Hattie, but her real name was Hedwig, and the last name is Lange. Now they will call it Lang or Lange. But she was buried here because she was only 28 years old when she died during the flu epidemic in 1920. And my dad, of course, didn't have any cemetery lots, so he asked Grandma Lange, could he bury Hattie here? And his next grave is Laura Lange, which is my grandmother, and that's Hattie's mother. And my brother Martin and I lived with her for several years after she died. And before, we lived with her until Dad married Hannah, which was my stepmother. And I think Jonathan was at Grandma Lange's funeral. We were living in Manhattan, Kansas at the time. We took a train ride from Manhattan to Sheboygan.
Now, Uncle Bunny was related to this group how?
Uncle Bunny was my mother's brother. His name is Alvin.
And he's buried down in Florida.
He's buried down in Tampa, Florida.
Okay. So the monument that you're standing next to isn't really a stone?
No, all three names are on here. This other grave is my grandfather, Hugo, who died in 1900, so I never did get to meet him. But those names are on the bottom here. But after Grandma died, Alvin, or Uncle Bunny, bought this monument for everybody.
I see.
But the actual burials are there. And then on this side are Grandma Lange's parents. I don't know if you want to...
Sure.
Over there, again, her father's name was Friedrich.
Another Friedrich.
Yeah. And then this, Carolyn, that was Grandma's mother. But I remember Friedrich, he was 80 years old when he died.
And that family name was Schmidt.
Yes.
With a DT. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Friedrich.
And this grave is for Maida, and that was Uncle Henry's wife. And Uncle Henry was my mother's older brother. And he, after he retired, he was an engineer, a very good engineer. And when he died, or he was married, and then a second time, his wife died when she was fairly young. And again, he didn't have any cemetery property, so he got permission from Grandma Lange to bury her here. And well, she was, I don't know, a fairly young woman, a very nice woman. But Uncle Henry is buried in Florida, and Bunny went down to visit him, and he liked Florida so much so that he decided to move down there too. So he and his wife Margie are buried here.